Time. It's something you can't get back. It's not something you can give away. It's only something that you can live in right now. And today we decided that we need to run early for time. But with this time, we are granted. We're drafting a freaking winner today. And to help us do it, we have Ryan Heath joining us. And I'm excited. You should all be excited. Let's dive right in. It doesn't matter if it's through injury, through the other important things that need to get done. We're going to get this show done because that's what Best Ball Breakdown is for. And joining myself, Thomas Tipple FF, Scott Barrett DFB, and Chris Wecht FF. Again, Ryan Heath. You can find him at QBL Ryan. He's a fantasy football content creator for Fantasy Points and the QB List. Ryan, thanks for joining us today. And thank you for making, like, literally right when you walk through the door, we had to turn this thing on. And we appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, we're just lucky I didn't get pulled over driving 80 down the highway coming home from work today, so I could make it on time for you guys. But glad I could be here. Very excited to draft a best ball team here. It should be a good time.
Just remember, if you do get that speeding ticket, Scott will cover it. Like, I'm not sure if he worked that out with you before, but that's kind of in Scott's contract. Look, normally we like to sit here and we go through a little bit of strategy or things that we're noticing. But because Scott has seemingly more important things to do than draft a best ball team with us today, we're going to take a quick second. When we come back, we're just going to get right into it. And then we can lead into some very fun and interesting strategy points. Sit tight. So, folks, here we are. This is not going to take long to fill. These really don't take that long. We, Chris, you and I were discussing before we came on how absolutely insane and how deep some people's portfolios are already this year. What is so our first draft to now, your biggest changes? Ryan, I want to know your biggest changes from the start of Best Ball Mania 4 to now as well.
So for me, I finally decided. I'm ready to say it, but Kadarius Toney is the worst pick in all of best ball this year. And
he has to be.
He has to be. It's the DeAndre Hopkins stuff to the Chiefs starts leaking. I mean, it's just all crumbling down, and we're taking this guy at what is his ADP now? 70-ish, I want to say. Yeah,
silly,
right on the money, 70-ish.
Look at him. Look at Scott. He already wants to leave.
I know Scott's not going to like it.
Is this a meme or is this really your take?
This is real. This is real. I mean, what are we hoping for? I mean, yes, he could have a legit amazing ceiling, but we just have no. So could Marquise Brown in the Cardinals office, and the floor is much higher. I mean,
Marquise Brown is a great pick. Ryan's been telling us for months now he's a great pick, and I always agreed. Kadarius Toney, you'll have to see what his ADP is. Okay, so Marquise Brown, great pick. Kadarius Toney, great pick. Jordan Addison, shit pick. George Pickens, terrible pick. Burks, terrible pick. Lockett's a good pick. That's like a sweet spot. But yeah, Kadarius Toney, I mean, he could be 2022 or 2021 Tyreek Hill, or 80% that, or even if he's not that talented, he's still the number 2 pass catcher in a Patrick Mahomes offense.
But he could give you
zero. He could get hurt. He could retire to focus on his rap album for sure. But I mean, I think the upside, the reward outweighs the risk.
Oh my gosh.
Because this is a tournament style best ball draft. This is a tournament style league where you need to gravitate towards that league winning potential. And I think Kadarius has that in a way few others at that range possessed.
But he also, and it's not even close, could give you the clear 0 out of anybody in this range. No?
I maybe I'm too injury optimistic, but it's like I believe in the talent. The
He
team has
doesn't
done
even
nothing
need
but
to
talk
get
him
hurt,
up.
though.
And that matters when you're talking about the Chiefs, because before they traded Alex Smith, they were like, yeah, this Patrick Mahomes, like he's a walking god. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Alex Smith's not going to be here long. This guy's crazy good. And so like, yeah, maybe they're liars, but they were honest that time, and they've done nothing but hype up my guy, Kadarius. So I'm getting excited.
Colby in the chat here saying you took him at 61 over Tyler Lockett.
If Hopkins signs there, are you out on Tony and where he's currently going?
Yeah, probably.
You have to be. Crazy talk.
All right, at least there's that.
Well, I want to hear what Ryan has to say, but before we do, we are at the 102. Is this prime Travis Kelce territory? What are we doing here, Chris?
Gosh.
We got to get the guest take on this. We always let the guests kind of shape the beginning of our draft and where they want to go.
Sure. So Scott, I am with you on Kelce. I definitely don't mind taking him early, but I think there's a couple issues with taking him like 101, 102 is your optimal second round pick with Kelce is going to be Mahomes. It's harder to get him the further back you are in that second round. So it almost feels a little pointless to take him 1 or 2. You're just ruining your exposures to Chase and Jefferson. So I like to stick with wide receiver in the top 2, but I like 103 on, I'm Kelce pilled.
So Chase or Cup?
I would go Chase.
All right, we'll go Chase. We haven't done a Chase team yet.
We have not actually. Surprisingly enough, we have not. Jake out here saying Scott's playing for $3 million. Chris is playing for the minimum cash. Oh, and he's back. I don't know if he's in our draft this time, but we have our main man,
Omega.
He's here with us today. He's vibing. We love it. Shout out to you.
We finally
Omega.
got to use that.
Finally, I've had it here waiting for you, Omega, for like so long.
What's the name?
Are you maxed out? There are some people. He said there's some people already max entered in Best Ball Mania 4. Is that you? Is that why you're saying that, Omega? You've got that disposable Best Ball Mania cash just flowing. Unbelievable. So what's the optimal second round pick here then, Ryan?
All right. Before he answers that, I feel like we didn't do a good job of letting the listeners know who Ryan is. Ryan is the young, hot phenom writer for fantasypoints.com. I wish you could bet on the FSWA's Fantasy Newcomer of the Year award. Like you could bet on the Rookie of the Year award, because Ryan is an absolute lock. He's been writing some fucking awesome pieces. The last 2 were about kickers and defense, but they were like the best kicker and defense articles you could ever read. Right now he's working on something that's way more interesting, fascinating, really cool, really excited. Ryan is the absolute man. Right now it's like a Justin Herbert type historic rookie or OBJ historic rookie season. My guy, Ryan. Yeah. Now go ahead and ask whatever question you got to ask, and he's going to hit it out of the park. Can guarantee it.
All right, I'll re-ask. What's the optimal second round pick, starting with Jamar Chase?
I really like the running backs just in the back half of the second round in this 2-3 turn. You love Nick Chubb's already off the board, but you'd love getting him. You love Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. I've becoming increasingly enamored with Breece Hall lately. There was just news today out that they think he's going to be ready for week 1. I know we can be optimistic about these things in the offseason every single year, but Hall just strikes me as the right combination of talent and improving offense, that he can just be the guy that you need, that who's just absolutely hits his ceiling. So I would love to get Hall somewhere here on the turn. I'm not sure exactly where his ADP is at. It's actually dropped a little since the last time I drafted, but Pollard looks great here as well. It's hard to beat that too.
Would you consider taking Mahomes to pair with Chase for the Week 17 matchup between them?
I think you can do that, but then you kind of have to draft Kadarius Toney later. So I don't know if that's what we want to set ourselves up for. If we want to talk about
a lot of good
Justin
choice.
Ross. You could do Sky Moore, right?
I mean, you could do these things. but I just want to put my 2 cents in on Tony as well. There's these receivers kind of generally, with them being so pushed up in underdog, it's hard to draft for like median receiver projections to go for the min cash, as Jake Tribby was just saying in a comment a little bit ago. I think that the way to attack those middle round receivers is to go for the ceiling case, and it is Kadarius Toney. Ultimately, I mean, we can be safe wherever else we want, but I think Toney makes a lot of sense.
All right, we took Breece Hall with the first pick.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we
Breece
didn't.
Hall's
need
a
to do
terrible
that.
pick,
Well,
dude.
That could have
Why
been
would we
third,
take him?
but
It's we wouldn't
You
get him. We'd
literally
have to
just
take.
said he's going to hit it out of the park. He makes a suggestion, and then you tune back in after the pick is taken in Scott Barrett fashion. Probably
We could have
banging out a
had
banger
Kelsey and
tweet.
Mahomes. My goodness. What about Josh
Unbelievable.
Jacobs? Is a way better pick than Breece Hall. I'm sorry.
I was just going. Ryan said he loved Breece Hall. We weren't going to get him if we don't take him in the third.
All right. Well, my bad. I did tune out. You guys caught me. Was eating
Well,
some
it's not-
delicious ice cream as my dinner. I just maybe he's a great pick because he was awesome last year. I just like avoid post ACL running backs like the plague.
yeah, I mean, I do get it. He didn't have like a particularly complicated injury from what I understand. Like this isn't like a J.K. Dobbins, Javonte Williams type of deal. But just looking at his efficiency stats, including especially in the receiving game, I had a tweet this morning that was like he's top 3 in every single receiving metric: missed tackles forced per reception, yards per out run. It's just insane. Small sample, I don't care, whatever. He's clearly insanely talented. So he's someone I want to be taking a stand on and getting a lot of.
So I had a phone call with Dr. Chow many years ago talking about Dalvin Cook. He had just suffered an ACL, and I'm like, I love Dalvin Cook. I really believe in the talent. Should I draft him? He looks like a value. He's like, no. Never draft in fantasy running backs the year they're coming back from the ACL. Target them the year after, because it's not just that they're less efficient. They don't play as well, but it's also a much higher risk of compensatory injuries. So, and that's exactly what you saw with Dalvin Cook. That's exactly what you saw with Saquon Barkley. That's exactly what you saw with, I don't know, a number of these other ACL RBs. And so like, it just never hurt me. So that's just my intentional, I don't know, gravitational pull. But also I just think Robert Saleh is sort of like a donkey defensive minded coach who wants this to be a committee backfield. Because even though his volume, Breece Hall's volume was amazing, like his last 3 weeks, I think he had like 20 something touches, 20 something carries and like 4 targets. It was still only like 60% of the backfield XFP. And so the question then is, replacing Zach Wilson with Aaron Rodgers is, do they go more pass heavy? Because, it's a Nathaniel Hackett offense. And even with Rodgers winning back-to-back MVPs, that was a pretty run-heavy offense. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think as soon as you say Nathaniel Hackett, that is one of the that one's hard to argue with. But I don't know. Like I enjoy betting on these players when there are a lot of changes coming to the offense, just because it widens the range of outcomes. Maybe you can say you don't want to do that in the second round, but Hall's just going to kind of be my guy this year. I'm going to sink or swim with him. It's also hard to deny like the year post ACL stuff that is pretty solid, but look, man, we're having fun here. I like Breece Hall. I wanted to take him.
Well, part of it too, I mean, like I said, you just replace Zach Wilson with Aaron Rodgers. It's possible, like he's only 80% coming off of the ACL, and he still falls into the end zone, I don't know, 24 times.
Well, Colton wants to know, Scott, if they go pass heavy, who do they trust in pass pro passing downs at running back?
I don't know. Michael
coming up
Carter had some success there, right? But I think they hate him.
I was gonna say there's no team that hates their running back more than the Jets hate Michael Carter. From trading for James Robinson only to not use him, to using Knight, Johnson, and everyone else on their team, Michael Carter's never Himothy.
What do we want to do here? Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk.
I've been clicking Jerry Jeudy a lot in this type of spot.
Yeah, I like that call. I definitely wanted to get a wide receiver there because if we don't take
gross.
at least one here, yeah, and not a bad idea to take two even. But
guys like Chris Godwin get real ugly. I'm not a big look at the highlight guy, but Jesus, those quarterbacks in Tampa.
All right, we're back up again. I still like Christian Kirk here. It's probably my favorite wide receiver left.
Yeah, I'm good on Kirk as well. This one's kind of weird. Like you don't feel.
I would go
excited.
Joe Mixon.
Well, 3 seconds.
Too late,
2 seconds. 2 seconds. So I just want to point out Jake did have this banger. Imagine the take Scott could give if he wasn't constantly distracted by his phone, his ice cream, and his vape. And Dan agreed. Tribby just bodied Scott. LMAO.
Well, maybe my focus would be a little better if I actually had some impact on this team we're drafting. You took Jamar Chase. I wanted Kelsey. You took Breece Hall, who I didn't want. You took Patrick Mahomes, and I wanted Josh Jacobs.
Well, Scott, we let the guests shape the beginning of these teams. So, right. I mean, stop booking badass guests, I guess, and you'd have more input. Well, all right. We'll give you that 20th round pick or 18th round pick that you love so much with like Justin Ross. And then, we make you happy at the end of the show. This is what we do.
If we could do that. I will say every time we do a show like this and I complain, I always think about like the 0.001% chance that this is the team that wins the $2 million and I get 25% of it despite just bitching the entire time.
There's not much of a worse thing you can do than complain about winning the biggest best ball tournament in history.
This team sucks. I've had zero impact on who's been drafted, and then I live on an island somewhere.
Dan's out here saying hashtag Scott signature lines. I didn't sign off on that. That's exactly how it is. Another thing, I think Allen Robinson has a sneaky bounce back season.
No.
Has a last round flyer in the slot. No thanks. I'm okay. That man looks dusty, like Sahara Desert Dusty Dusterson. Yeah, it's rough. Shout out, poor guy.
This has to be. I mean, I don't think I've seen. This is the first draft I've seen all of the big three QBs not go. None of them go in the second round.
Right.
And also, Hurts not being stacked with any Philly guy, Allen not being stacked with Diggs, Burrow not stacked with either T or Chase. I mean, I don't know. They some very interesting decisions from some of these teams in the middle of the draft.
Yeah. Did this guy really just go 5 wide receivers to start?
He did, yeah.
Damn.
Bombadil.
Where does he stop is the question. Is that
a character from Lord of the Rings? Bombadil?
Bombadil? No.
Yeah, no, it is. Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, the Hobbit.
Oh, yeah. You are correct. Yeah.
Look at that. I'm surprised I out-nerded you on something, Thomas.
That's true. Wow. I retire. This has been great. I've let Scott out-nerd me.
Don't worry, guys. We dodged the bullet. Tony went at 64.
Oh, F you.
Out-nerding Scott was like one of the only things I still had in life.
Yeah.
It's gone.
I have all these friends who are into like Game of Thrones and Warhammer and Magic the Gathering. And I'm like, listen, I'm a fantasy football expert. I'm allowed one nerdy thing. And I went to the max with it. So that's it. No more nerdy things. What's your nerdy thing, Chris, besides fantasy?
I'm into pretty much all the nerdy stuff. Lord of the Rings.
You're a furry? That's crazy.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
Wow.
Ryan,
that's pretty nerdy, Chris.
All right, calm down.
I thought that was a good roast. Tyler Lockett, gosh. I mean, screaming. Oh, of course. Fuck my wife. Always happens. Wow.
I mean, I do like a good. What are we rolling right now? Man, running back got disgusting really fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
there was
guys
a
can go ahead and make this
stream.
pick because
I don't hate Goddard here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't hate that.
the problem with Goddard is my recommendation would probably be Waller.
Right.
It's not good value, but
mm,
We just don't know. There's no. Yeah.
I don't like Goddard just because of the like he's got two
All right, what
really
about
good wide
Deontay
receivers.
Johnson.
I do like a good Deontay Johnson.
I can live with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always live with Deontay Johnson.
Yeah. He's got to regress. He's got to score a touchdown, right? Like that. That has to happen this year.
Yeah. He's like the most underperforming skill position player by expected fantasy points all of last year, I believe.
Yeah.
Jake says my nerdy thing is Succession memes that nobody on this show understands. I just started watching actually, Jake. So
Hey,
shout
Jake,
out.
don't
I'll get
don't
them
spoil
eventually.
anything. I have the finale to still watch that I have not watched yet.
Nice. I watched episode 1, so there
Darren
you go. We're
Waller.
on the clock.
Yeah, I'm fine with Waller.
Yeah,
here.
Waller's good.
nice. Finally, my one pick.
Brian
What do you-
Drake.
Well, let Scott have one. Yeah.
One,
What do you
I'm
guys
eating
think
ice
of-
cream as well. 2, I sold my original series Magic cards in '98.
Hundreds of
my
thousands of dollars?
gosh.
No way.
And he says 3, see my $1 ice cream. Yeah, man, I remember getting rid of
Hundreds
my
of thousands?
Yeah, I remember getting rid of my original Pokemon cards that had every shiny original. Gave it to my nephew who burned them in a
Wow.
campfire.
What a
So
douche.
there's that. Depressing. Yeah. Yeah. Jake says no spoilers. I would never do that to Crew. Shout out Jake. He's a real one.
What do you guys
So-
think of this running back air range here with like Swift, Rashad White, Madison, James Conner?
I like James Conner. I don't really care about the rest.
Yeah, out of that group, Connor's
So
the
Madison,
man.
if Dalvin Cook is not
Well, actually,
there,
no, so here's where sources kick in. Madison is 100% the guy. Minnesota is 100% getting rid of him unless he restructures the contract, which might be a possibility. But I would bet on Madison being the guy and Dalvin being a member of the Buffalo Bills or the Miami Dolphins. Rashad White, apparently the team is obsessed with him. The team just loves him. They want him to be the guy. I kind of just don't believe that, but our sources are saying strongly that it's the Rashad White show. And I mean, like, this is a shitty team that's probably tanking. So like, yeah, why not just not sign Kareem Hunt or whoever else they should sign?
Well, I mean, they brought in Chase Edmonds. Like that's the reinforcements. So
yeah, he's
pure volume. It's White, but how good is the offense going to be? Like
I don't think it
again,
matters. That's the thing is like he is a good pass catcher. So and this is a team that's going to be trailing nonstop. So you just pepper him with targets and he'll get an extra 14 carries that gain 2.8 yards per carry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Rashad White, I just every time I make like a chart or whatever with a couple like rushing efficiency metrics, he's just bottom left every single time. Like you cannot find anything he was really good at last year. I get it from a volume standpoint, but there's a lot of volume guys in this area of the draft for where they are. Like Scott said, I think Madison is like a volume bet makes sense. Connor definitely does. Like I think we can just prefer those guys to White, but not at the moment because
so the efficiency doesn't really bother me too much because Fournette was right there with him in every stat he was bad at. And it's also like, so you're going to see this, I think, when you do your aging curve study, but sophomore running backs, who sucked as a rookie running back? Le'Veon Bell, LaDainian Tomlinson, Christian McCaffrey, David Montgomery, Joe Mixon. Like it's pretty common for these guys to average, 3.5 yards per carry and then really turn on as sophomores.
Yeah, no, it's completely true. I mean, that's part of the Breece Hall thesis too. So maybe I shouldn't be selectively applying that to players I like and players I don't like. But yeah,
if anything, the reverse is true, right? It's probably like guys who sucked are more likely to see a massive increase than guys who are really good see a big increase.
All right, we're back on the clock here. Let's kind of a gross range. I always hate this part of the draft. I never love anyone. We could build like kind of a Jacksonville stack without Trevor Lawrence at QB. We do have Mahomes, so that can still work. If we took Evan Ingram, Cortland Sutton for more Denver pieces, Kamara at running back.
Kamara's fine. We only have one running back.
Yeah.
I also like Ingram.
That is a scary running back room. Brees Hall and a potentially
We're
suspended
going to need some
Kamara.
back of the draft guys that we know are going to be playing.
Locked
and getting
in,
some
locked
touches
in, baby.
week one.
Get the Seattle RB1, Zach Charbonnet coming up, and then
Unfortunately, he's the exact opposite of the type of running back we want right now.
Hey, I'm just saying, Seattle's RB1 right there. We can hit the Samaj AP line.
So I like either Sutton or Ingram here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not like Sutton.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not big into drafting Sutton this year, but just more.
He
building
averages
up
4
Denver.
fantasy points per game in games Jerry Jeudy has played over the last 3 seasons.
He just
Oh,
It
yeah,
might be
not good.
6.2 or something, but it's like it's so bad.
Oh yeah,
I
you don't have to convince me that Judy's the much better player, but
I would prefer
I just think
Michael
he's
Thomas
just
to
like super dust. Yeah, I would much prefer Michael Thomas. I think
Really?
he has,
Yeah.
I think he at least
oh,
has.
we
an
can do
upside.
that because let's go that
I
way.
think Michael Thomas, when he plays, puts up wide receiver 1 production, even if it's like 3 games a year, if that. As long as they're weeks, in the playoffs, go at it, kid. Have yourself 3 games. Go crazy with it. So can we show Chris, can we just run through the roster? We've drafted 5 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 quarterback, and a tight end. Kind of a scary looking running back room, as I mentioned. We went a little bit above ADP for both running backs.
Yeah, to me, this is a max 7 wide receiver team.
Yes.
With at least one of them being like way late. Because I mean, we could have wide receiver 1s from all of their respective teams on this roster if everybody is healthy and whatnot. And then I know the running back loom looks scary, but if we can pair it with some guys that we know are going to get touches, particularly early in the season, and maybe they're not the highest ceiling guys, but we just know they're going to keep us afloat while a guy like Kamara can get through his looming suspension. Brees Hall, gets better and, recovers fully from his ACL injury. If they both return to form in the back half of the season and we've stayed alive with our strong wide receiver core, I mean, you're sitting kind of pretty.
We have a power law quarterback, like the best power law quarterback. We have a power law tight end. We have a stacked wide receiver room. Yeah. I would like to grab Rashad Penny here. I like his upside. I also, again, he's kind of like Kadarius Toney, where it's like, all right, throw out injuries, assume he plays all 17 games. And it's like, what's the median projection?
So why
low end RB1?
I'm curious why you don't have the same thought for like DeAndre Swift then, because isn't the argument basically the same? I'm not like obsessed with Swift.
I'm just thinking of like how they've used backs in this system, and it's they Miles Sanders, the early down workhorse who doesn't catch passes, and then they have the Kenny Gainwell type, and it's like, okay, well, DeAndre Swift would be Kenny Gainwell, and Rashad Penny would be Miles Sanders, and this is just an argument that's not at all baked into ADP, so that's why I find it compelling. And Penny, by the way, is like, all right, he's missed more games than he's played, but he's also the most efficient running back of all time by yards per carry.
Yeah, I'm definitely Penny over Swift, but I do think Swift does get forgotten about a little bit in that range.
Jake is destroying me.
Yeah, Scott addicted to players with bones made out of baby food.
Oh
my
man,
God. Well, and we just know that Swift is not a very efficient runner. They gave him the workhorse role in Detroit, and then they went. No.
He just never got volume, which implies something more going on there. But he's also another guy with injury issues. Deuce Staley called him a wussy like 15 times last offseason.
Yeah, I also want to point out, people love when they're like, "Oh yeah, Deuce is the RB coach." Yet any team where he's been the RB coach has been not very exciting for fantasy football. So maybe it's pipe down our expectations here.
So I definitely like going running back here. Penny, Gibson, Harris. Well, Gibson just went. I
Love
like Damian
Harris.
Harris too.
I like Penny Harris here. Yeah.
I also like Elijah Mitchell for the same reason, right?
Yeah,
like
I like
Elijah Mitchell, when healthy, was really limiting what Christian McCaffrey did on the field. As much as people don't want to admit it.
Gosh.
We're on the clock here.
All right, do we go Mitchell? I mean, he's a guy that we know will get touches early in the season, assuming he's healthy, which he should be.
I prefer him or Jerick McKinnon. The Jerick McKinnon stack with Mahomes could be nice.
That feels so expensive with McKinnon, but you're all right. We could.
I'm cool with both of those.
Well, what if we why don't we take Mitchell?
Sense.
And then if McKinnon comes back, we can easily tap that.
Yeah.
But he won't be there when we come all the way back.
Yeah.
You just remember the fantasy playoffs last year. It was not the Mahomes Kelsey stack. It was the Mahomes McKinnon show that was carrying teams to finals.
Yeah, I think they know that McKinnon. I think we saw it in the playoffs. They knew McKinnon ran out of steam. He's a guy they cannot give a ton of touches to all season long if they want him to be effective down the stretch. It's just a matter of, do they stick to that and, they don't let him burn out at the end. So we taking McKinnon ahead of these wide receivers, and Rodgers and Geno, I don't think matter to us.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I just mental note, let's bump Garrett Wilson up in our internal rankings a little bit more just because Rodgers, I keep saying it, he really stands out to me as the top value among all quarterbacks. So
is Rodgers, could that be just the Denver Broncos of this year at all, you think, with the Jets? I mean, the similarities are almost crazy, especially with Nathaniel Hackett being the OC, Rodgers coming off MVP seasons, just like Russell Wilson looked like at times.
Yeah, I don't.
Sutton, Jerry Jeudy go way early last year, and then it all falls apart.
Yeah, I kind of don't think so. Just because Russell Wilson was QB 10 and Rodgers is QB 15.
Wilson's the expensive one, I guess, is really the problem.
I think the coolest stat I've found all offseason is that over the last 2 seasons, the Jets lead the league in passing yards per game when Zach Wilson isn't on the field. When he is on the field, he ranks second worst. And so part of that is game script a little bit, but bake that in still. And it's Garrett Wilson's a stud. Russell Wilson, meanwhile, every time we had Greg Cosell on talking about him, he was no, this guy's toast. He's a few games away from retirement. He was saying this 2 or 3 years ago, and he just looked dead right. Whereas with Rodgers, I think it's as simple as MVP with Nathaniel Hackett, MVP with Nathaniel Hackett, broken thumb plus no Devontae Adams, and now great offensive environment, or at least it looks that way to me.
Yeah,
he also gives a fuck now. Before he was, he was doing ayahuasca and retreats all summer long, and he's actually in Florham Park with the Jets right now.
Yeah, I have no problems with the Rodgers price. It's the Wilson one, and I don't think we've had a lot of back of the.
Yeah, where did Wilson go?
Round. He always goes in the early second round.
I mean, that's expensive. That's expensive, but I think if you factor in the round 9 Rodgers, whatever it is, it's not that expensive. Yeah.
Right, the cost of the stack isn't alarming, but I can see why that.
And then Tyler Conklin's a value. Who do you have as the wide receiver 2 there?
Conk Daddy, baby, let's go.
Lazard. I think Corey Davis might be forgotten about a little
Lazard's
bit.
A value.
Yeah, Corey Davis doesn't always get drafted, and
meanwhile with Denver, it was Sutton was round 4 or 5, Jeudy was round 4 or 5.
Yeah. Ryan, do you have any takes on the Jets stack / Wilson in particular, since he's the most expensive?
I mean, I do like it, yeah, just because, as you guys have kind of said, there's no one else that really jumps out as this is gonna be the reason that Wilson doesn't get literally all of the targets. I don't know. I don't want to put myself through the thought experiment of Aaron Rodgers just wanting to throw to Allen Lazard instead all the time. But yeah, I mean, I think it costs that whole Jets team aside from Wilson, is like just very, very fairly low risk and for the type of reward you can get out of that.
All right, so this pick coming up here, I mean, if Rashi gets to us, it's got to be Rashi Rice, right?
I mean, why take Rashi when you can take Justin Ross? There's laughter every time I say this, but I mean, I believe it.
Rashi's going to play.
I mean,
Hey, there
Justin
were more
Ross is
Justin
immensely
Ross
more
highlights on
talented.
the Bird app today that people were losing their mind at. So I'm surprised Scott didn't tag us in it like 400 times.
Just
All
please
right, Ryan,
unclick Rasheed Rice.
Ryan,
please.
are we taking Rashi Rice here? Or no?
We can take Rashi Rice here.
No,
I,
let's take Jalen Warren.
I was
I w-
just gonna say Jalen Warren's who I want on the next pick.
Beautiful.
Though. Yeah.
Unclick Rasheed, please.
I'll take
Please.
Warren. If we don't get Rashi to come back,
Yeah, I mean, we've got more of a need at running back. Like, yeah.
Ryan, don't feel like you have to appease Scott. I mean, just it's okay. Just step on the take. We all do it. He's okay with it. Just
this
you're the guest of honor.
this is why we
Danny
don't-
Gray out alphaed Rasheed Rice for 3 seasons at SMU, whereas Justin Ross out alphaed T. Higgins, Hunter Renfro. All right, granted, it was 8 years ago, but
Oh,
many
Brian coming
surgeries
in
before him.
strong.
nice. Someone
Justin
sniped us on
Ross
Rasheed
doesn't
Rice.
even make the Chiefs roster.
He definitely does. I mean, they put him on the roster all of last year when he wasn't healthy. So why would that be the case this year?
Derek Carr or Irv Smith here. We have the Saints.
Oh, not
stacked
Irv.
together.
Smith.
Not Irv.
Oh,
Oh, he's so bad.
yeah, I know he is, but
He just sucks at football.
I really like Brock Purdy as a.
And when is the tight end in Cincinnati ever been like a
Hayden Hurst
Tyler
was good
Eifert in
last year.
2016?
yeah,
He just
I
got
thought
hurt.
2016.
I don't know. I just made
Jeez
it up.
Louise.
See how
I had
close was.
knees that worked in 2016. Cody has a question for the Fantasy
2015,
Points
13
Discord here.
touchdowns.
He wants to know if he can post his Best Ball Mania teams in the Discord under the Underdog tab.
That's fine.
Go for it. Do it up. Jake, can we add some kind of penalty to Scott's equity in this team every time he complains? Minus 25 cents in equity per complaint.
That's pretty
Jake,
smart.
I love this. I mean, this is fantastic. You can make up for it with banger tweets, though. I feel like you should be able to get your equity back per
I mean,
quarter.
my banger tweets are nothing compared to Jake's banger comments,
It's true. He's
and I'm the victim of most of these.
We just need the Scott complaint counter like up in the top.
Yeah,
right.
can you make one of those, Thomas?
I can.
We
I
can turn
believe
this
I
into a
can.
drinking game. Like, do a shot
my
every
gosh.
time I'm obviously not paying attention.
Oh, jeez.
Take a sip every time I complain, and you're just
Complain about a pick that liked a few picks ago.
your wife just leaves you. You know, like you don't see the kids anymore, and you're like, what happens to your life? Is like, I watch the best ball fantasy point show every Wednesday, and just got so degenerate drunk.
I'm going to get an oh my god Scott Barrett drop right here for the old for the soundboard.
Can I hear an Omega just for the sake?
Omega.
Of course you can.
Oh, I love it.
100%.
La Prohibido? Is that the
I
name of
have
the song?
no idea.
La Prohibido?
All I know is that drop is already being discussed in group chats because I've been tagged numerous times. So the people, hey, if you are in enough drafts with us, which you can do by using Fantasy PTS over at Underdog Fantasy if you've never played before, you can get in and you can get your own drop.
Speaking
Simple
of
as that.
fantasy PTS, I have fantasy PTS over what Elijah Moore did to me last year. Where is he going in these drafts?
Definitely went.
Gone already for sure. No? Had to have.
No, he did.
Yeah, he definitely did.
I was gonna say,
There he
like,
is. Yeah,
look at
up
some of the
near the-
names
yeah,
on
okay.
here.
Okay, good.
That
Alec
feels a
Pierce.
little early. Somebody reached a bit for him, I think, because I thought he went later than that.
Yeah, look at the guy to the left of us. All of the Chiefs wide receivers, Juju last year, Sky Moore, Rasheed Rice. That's some bad value. He has Treylon Burks and Chig. It's a weird team.
Yeah, he's really high on that, and Henry. He's high on that Titans offense, that's for sure.
Hey, I mean, no one is. So if they're the team you needed to win it all,
What is the worst projected offense that you are most interested in taking flyer stacks on, given cost and everything?
it's probably not a bad team. Like, I can't get on board with Carolina at all. I can't get on board with Houston at all. I can't get on board with Arizona, really. Like, it
Do the
depends on
Giants
how big
count
the
as an
stack is.
answer or no?
The Bucks?
The Rams. I like that high-low team,
Yeah, Rams are definitely interesting.
but it's just because everyone after Cup is literally free.
Yeah. All right, what do we want to do here? We could take Kenny Pickett. We do have Deontay Johnson.
You are obsessed with Kenny Pickett. Why would we take Kenny Pickett over Matthew Stafford? Or
We can
Brock
do that,
Purdy?
but we just got to figure out a way to stack him somehow.
Kenny Pickett had one game over 16 fantasy points last year.
We know.
What are the chances he's that bad again?
So it's either Stafford or Purdy.
I like that. We can they do both have a week 10 bye. That's probably okay though.
Can you click on running back? Jerome Ford, great pick.
Yeah.
Hey,
He's just one where it's like it feels very obvious that his ADP is going to climb over the offseason, just as people kind of realize that there's nobody else there behind Chubb. Like, they've always kind of used like a 2-back system. I don't think Nick Chubb is getting 350 touches or anything. So he just seems like an insane value. We know Kareem Hunt's not coming back. I think they've straight up said that. So yeah, I'm getting a ton of Jerome Ford exposure in all my drafts right now.
well, we just got sniped on him. John Mechie, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Did
love
Jeff
that. I
Wilson
love
go?
Chris's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff. Oh no. Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
Oh God, Chris. That's
That hasn't happened in a long time.
That's
This is what
okay.
happened when I
It
don't hit
really
the draft button.
never happens.
This is what happened when I don't hit the draft button. That's it right there.
Oh, that really threw me off. Wilson and Ford going really threw me for a loop.
Yeah, that sucked. I think Ford's a better pick than Warren, because I think Ford you could argue there's a higher likelihood for a committee, and then it's like similar upside if the RB1 gets hurt.
Jake wants to know if anyone knows where Jerome Ford went to school.
All right, so are we gonna cry about taking Kyler Murray, or are we gonna try and talk ourselves into fate helping us win $2 million?
So so we've got 3 picks left. Man, I hate taking. Somebody reached for Jefferson, so he's not even available. That's the other thing that threw me for a loop. I went to look for him right after we took Stafford. So that really leaves us thin at stacking Stafford. We could do like Puka or Tutu.
Why would you take any of those guys over Justin Ross? Like, this has to
Because
be a Justin Ross.
we
team.
already made the bet on Stafford. Somebody's got to catch the ball from him.
Yeah, that's why Kyler, I guess, made no sense. You don't need 3 QBs on a.
No, we definitely don't.
So I think this is a cognitive bias. Is you're trying to justify an accidental bad pick. You just say fuck it. It just. I don't think there's like a wide receiver 4 on the Rams who's going to make a difference for us. Certainly not like Justin Ross's upside can be for us.
We're not doing this.
Nope.
We don't need the Justin Ross upside on this team. He does, even if he's a hit, he does nothing for this team. If he's doing something for this team, then we're in trouble. I'd rather make sure our other QBs have somebody that can be brought along with them in some capacity. In a one.
How does that make any sense? Why do you want a shittier Stafford stack when we spent all this draft capital on our QB1, Patrick Mahomes?
Because we can capture any Justin Ross points in a 1 week across the season.
If Stafford cracks our lineup, we're in trouble. you're thinking about it the wrong way. If Kyler cracks her lineup, we're in trouble. This is a
No,
Patrick
but in
Mahomes-
a 1 week season, in the playoff weeks, Stafford or Kyler could
No,
theoretically
I don't think
crack.
there's any. I don't think there's really any chance.
There's definitely
And
a
if it
chance.
happens, it's gonna be Cup. It's not
And
gonna be Tutu fucking Atwell.
And it would be good if it happened because it would mean less Mahomes teams advance farther along.
It's just so unrealistic when it's way more realistic for Mahomes to do Mahomes things. And the way we differentiate is we have fucking Justin Ross, who I have 20 spots higher than everyone else, but he's going undrafted in most of these leagues.
But he's not gonna get in our lineup.
He definitely could. He definitely could. It's maybe even it's the week 17 game. Chiefs locked up their bye. So Mahomes is benched. Ross comes in with the second stringers, and Chad Henne catches 3 touchdown passes. Kyler Murray's the QB1 of the week, and we win $2 million.
Here's my question. Is there going to be a best ball breakdown that doesn't involve a late round Justin Ross argument between now?
I mean,
and
it's
the time this
because I
tournament
keep
is
saying
over?
he's the best pick in these last 2 rounds, and you've given me 3 out of 30 shares.
That's plenty. That's enough. There's so many other good picks.
The chat
Like who?
agrees.
Like who?
You don't
Just
need to go
for when I clip
Ross.
this for later.
Brian,
I want to hear you
Freeman
hype
doesn't-
up Khalil Shakir when Justin Ross finishes as a wide receiver.
Oh, I could
too.
definitely hype up Khalil Shakir. But we're on the clock right here. Gus Edwards is a guy that will get touches early in the season that fits our running back room pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Edwards is the clear pick here.
The Gus
And then-
bus.
all right, so I
comes
think
home.
we can be done at running back and finish it off with 2 wide receivers.
Well, we know one of them.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Can we just take Shakir and Justin Ross at this point and just make everyone happy? What about someone like Michael Wilson?
That's either of the Cardinals guys, Wilson or Dortch.
I could see Michael Wilson. Oh fuck. So it's Marquise Brown, is definitely a starter, and then the question is,
Do they like Rondale more?
Well, Rondale Moore sucks.
I feel like Michael Wilson has more upside than like Rondale or Dortch even.
Yeah, I like Wilson a lot.
In a singular week, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, but he just has way less upside than Justin Ross.
So, Ryan, as the guest of honor, we have one more pick. You get to be the one to make the last.
Let's just start
pick
putting it on our guests that tell
in
Scott.
this
No.
here in this here draft. You get the last and final pick. Do not let Scott bully you.
Oh man, I've of course like my initial reaction is no, like pick anything that besides what Scott wants.
Yeah, that
I don't know, man.
You won't be blamed for this, Ryan. You can pick whoever you want. Chris will be his pay will be docked. He's in trouble.
When I look at those quarterbacks, it's like you're taking Mahomes. So we're thinking of like the scenario where Mahomes is great in week 17 and Travis Kelce is not, right? So somebody else is going to be. We have McKinnon. Like I don't know, man. I think we just kind of need to go with Ross here.
Oh man,
It just fits together so
Ryan.
much better.
Did he just
I
DM
agree.
you on Discord and like threaten to fire you?
Yeah.
Pick at you? Unbelievable that we've gotten to this point.
I mean,
I'd
I'm
rather
so
take
happy.
Richie
You have-
James than
It took
Justin
you
Ross.
9 rounds of beating on us.
wait, did Richie James
Edit.
get drafted before Justin Ross?
Yeah, he's a better
Yeah.
pick.
No. That's so infuriating. So
He's
how
actually-
many Chiefs wide receivers were drafted before Ross?
All of them outside of
So yeah,
Justin
what is that?
Watson.
1,
Justin
2,
Watson.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
Maybe we go Justin Watson. I don't know.
some
John
exposure.
Ross. Everyone had the wrong
Wow.
J. Ross.
Oh, I'm crying.
But I mean, this is like the sort of player that can really
Oh,
be the entire, difference maker. because he's drafted in only 50% of leagues. He does have this massive upside, and if he hits, you have this massive edge over everyone else, where it can forgive a lot of flaws. I do think, I mean, he works because this is a Mahomes team, but typically best served for teams that are a little wide receiver needy, I think, or at least they maybe have good depth but need more single week upside.
You just can't stack anyone with Stafford. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like,
well, who's the Rams wide receiver 2?
Ben Jefferson.
Who's wide receiver 3?
Who's wide receiver 3?
No one knows, right?
Yeah, no one knows that one, I would say.
Yeah.
Tutu, Skoranek.
So Van Jefferson's a fine stacking partner, but after that, it's...
Yeah, he went early.
I think I'd rather roster Higbee than the other wide receivers on that team.
yes, agreed.
All right. Tell me who you think the wide receiver 3 on the Rams is going to be. It's between Ben Skoranek, Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua, Braxton Burmeister, Lance McCutcheon, Cameron McCutcheon, Xavier Smith, Lance Lenore, Sam James, Tyler Hudson, Austin Trammell. How many of those names do you recognize?
I think it's Puka. I do.
Yeah.
Puka definitely
should never see the field again.
Yeah, Puka offers them something they don't have more than any of those other guys. Skoranek is a wide receiver, H-back, something or other. And Tutu, he can get blown off the field if there's a strong gust of wind. So
Jake says after Higbee and Van Jefferson, we get to guys who will soon be featured on Fantasy Points XFL Breakdown.
So part of Puka Nacua was like he was a part-time player in college, so I think it's going to be wide receiver 3 by committee.
Yeah,
and so I really don't think it matters too much.
No, you almost need one of the other guys gets hurt for it to really matter. But you could get a spike week. We've seen that offense put up big numbers in the past. Maybe you just have the right guy that week somewhere. All right.
Here it is.
Been a while.
I almost hoped he'd get picked just to see.
I know that would have been a great reaction.
Well, don't worry, because the only way that he actually gets picked is if Scott is drafting the team.
Oh crap! I'm way late, guys. And can you guys sign off for me? I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Of course.
Gotta
Farewell. He gets his Justin Ross pick and then dips.
Immediately leaves.
Just classic Scott Barrett shenanigans.
Yeah, it doesn't even stick around to bask in his glory of making us draft Justin Ross. Truly just bewildering. A guy doesn't have to be number 3 in snaps to be number 3 in targets. Maybe It's true.
but also has to still be good to earn targets, and therein lies the problem. You don't have to be good to see the field per se, but boy, you have to be good to earn targets, and that's something we know for sure. Well, fantastic time. It was a hell of a show. Ryan, what do you have going on for people that may not already be locked in on your fantastic work?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at QBLRyan. I've been posting a lot of charts on there recently. People are seeming to have fun with those. Check out my kicker and defense articles. I think they're pretty awesome if you care about either of those topics. If you don't, I guess I don't blame you, but if you do, you should definitely check them out. And yeah, as Scott mentioned, I've got a really cool project about aging curves coming up pretty soon. So that'll be great.
Love that. Look, we got to do the old read here before we get out of here. So if you didn't know, you can sign up today to Underdog with Fantasy PTS and get your first deposit doubled up to $100 and get a Fantasy Point subscription for just $5. You visit underdogfantasy.com or find them on the App Store, and don't forget to register with our promo code FANTASYPTS to get your first deposit matched. And again, cannot stress this enough. you get a fantasypoints.com subscription for just $5. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms will apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW York. In Tennessee, call 1-800-889-9789. Fantasy Points. We care for you. Chris, as always, fantastic. Always a wonderful time seeing you. For everyone watching, listening, leave a comment below. What was the worst pick? If it's Justin Ross, we might just pin it. What was the best pick? Let us know. And if you haven't already, hit that beautiful subscribe button, hit the bell so you never miss another Fantasy Points Best Ball Breakdown. Good night, everybody.